Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Good evening and welcome back to Last Man Standing. I am very sorry about the absence of the show for the last few weeks, but I've been undergoing a little bit of pain from uh, some medical causes, and tonight I am not pain free, but in control of it enough to where I hope we can do the show, and I won't have to end it early. It is the weekend. I may not be doing the Thursday night show for a while because I do have to go back to work on Fridays, and it's very hard to work a full shift and not be groggy from staying up all night on Thursday night doing the show, which I dearly love. I really do love doing this. But these things they happen. I'm 65. I'm not a teenager anymore. It's come to my attention. But still, let's hope we can be as entertaining as possible. And to help with that, we have Rich and Chris here tonight. And I don't know if anybody else is going to show up or not, but the link is out there for the folks that want to pop in.
Yeah.
So, ta-da!
We can handle this.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Um, so, how about that Babylonian Tupperware? To quote Robin Williams. Yeah, I'm an old guy. Uh,
Oh God. Well,
I actually sat and watched for the first time since the man passed away. I sat and watched a multiple hour long video of Robin Williams on Broadway,
ah,
and he was top of his form, and it was. I was afraid it was going to be bittersweet, but no. it was one of those things that by the end of it, I go, well, that'd be a good memorial right there. Carl,
Yeah.
Calvin.
Well,
Oh Lord.
cats are
Uh,
gonna cat.
yeah, really. Carl, you wanna come in the show? I mean, good grief. Uh, more the merrier, sort of thing. You're usually not awake at this hour. You watch us on the replay most of the time,
Yeah.
but tonight it's Donna that went to bed early and Carl's still up.
Yeah. Wonder if she's going to Meyer in the morning instead of him.
Um, place your bets.
I'm not gonna bet on that one. If I was going to, I mean, somebody held a gun to my head and made me, I bet that Carl's going to wind up going in the morning after all. But I suppose anything's possible.
Hey, no, Carl still has to shop. He won't be
Yeah.
awake much longer. Let me scroll down here on this other screen.
As
Good
I
Lord.
like to say, if Bobcat Goldthwait can get engaged to Nikki Cox, anything is possible.
I'll take your word for that.
Nikki Cox was I believe she played James Caan's daughter in the TV show Las Vegas.
Sorry, I don't TV that much. So,
Yeah.
She was a very attractive young redheaded
Yes.
gal.
I like her
She
already.
she was the teenage daughter on the sitcom that had him voicing a puppet
Rabbit.
bunny that um, came to life or whatever. Like happily never after or some shit
Yeah,
like that.
Unhappily Ever After, I believe. It was supposed to be a TV show for Stephanie Hodge, but she couldn't handle fame, and she had all these people, prisoners especially, sending her letters and whatnot, and the
These
show
things
kind
they
of
happen.
collapsed.
Yep. When you're a
So they
public
killed her off
figure,
and left the family.
oh, when you're a public figure, you do attract attention.
Oh yeah, well, she did a routine that was funny, but it garnered the wrong kind of attention she didn't want or need.
Yeah. Um, it's a difficult line to call to draw between uh, adult humor and help me out here. I don't know the next.
Unwanted sexual advances.
There you go. That covers the territory. But I was trying to think of a more smart ass way to say it. But no, that's plain speech will work. Uh,
Dad, she cracked me up in one of her stand-up specials. She was a smoker, and she's like, "You mind if I smoke?" And she's like, "I don't give a damn." She paused for a moment. She said, "I don't give a damn whether you mind or not. I'm gonna do it anyway." And she said, "And I smoke real cigarettes. I smoke, I don't smoke this ultralight, slim, or whatever. Just because some guy convinced you to suck twice as hard for half as much, don't mean I'm going to."
I successfully succeeded in suppressing spitting at the screen there. Thank you very much for catching me with your punchline in mid sip. Oh, it's proof that I have hung around with wisecracking people for way too long.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, it is. It's a survival instinct. Otherwise, I'd probably be calling an ambulance right now.
She could come up with some funny stuff. It's sort of like Brett Butler.
Yeah, no, I love her. I swear, she's amazing.
You don't know anything about obsession. Tell your father to call me. I butchered it, but yeah, she was talking about the girls that sprint you as you walk in the mall and stuff like that, and they'll spray you and then they'll say the name of it. Psh, obsession. You don't know anything about obsession. Tell your father to call me, or I'm lurking outside your daddy's window or some shit. What first time I heard her do that routine, I was in the middle of drinking a Coca-Cola.
Had to find a keyboard, huh?
No, it was back in the day of TV. Internet wasn't to the public yet.
Yeah.
It was
she had comedy specials on.
Yeah, it was actually a part of short attention span theater on Comedy Central. One of my favorite things to watch of all times. A lot of kids like watching music videos. I enjoyed music videos. I enjoyed the stand-up even more. So I spent more time watching short attention span theater. But anyways, no, I had to get the rug cleaner from downstairs, lug it upstairs, and shampoo the damn living room rug so that my mom didn't yell at the large brown Coca-Cola stain across the light gray rug.
This is why you choose your interior decor very, very carefully.
Well, she chose the interior decor when I was 2.
One of my favorite routines she did, she was talking about she was in England and she was going through her stick and all there after the show. She's like, I really enjoyed your show, but it was a bit too much with the language. And then she starts going into this smart ass reply. It's like, well, I'm glad you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm glad that our country decided to declare independence from you. And then she goes and then this says, as the guards are dragging her away, they say, you really mustn't speak to the Queen this way.
Another good one from back in the day was Rita Rudner.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Ellen DeGeneres' stand-up back in the day was spot on as well. It was awesome, and so was Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh yeah, real good.
I didn't enjoy their daytime talk shows as much. They weren't bad. Not my thing though.
Rita Rudner was good at doing that delayed, hesitant, it's seemingly ditzy, and then she delivers the punchline with such punch that
Yeah, slow burn delivery.
Almost like a conversation with Christopher Walken. The other day, I was beating my wife home from the store.
Well, did you ever hear Dave Grohl talk about when they were going to be on Saturday Night Live with Christopher Walken as the host?
No.
Oh, it's great. You got to look it up. He's like, Christopher Walken was talking, I got to introduce you. He said, is it, is the pronunciation on the front or... And Dave Grohl's smile, he's like, I'm purposely telling him this so I can hear him say it the way I want to hear him say it, even though it's totally wrong. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but look it up. It is absolutely hilarious.
To quote Frank Zappa, it may be totally wrong, but I'm a fool.
Well, sort of like that song lyric from Barbara Mandrell, if loving you's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Now, somehow or another in my Alice Cooper fandom, I had never learned the fact that Zappa was the one that signed them to a record contract first.
Signed who?
Alice Cooper, the band.
Oh, cool.
And this was back in the day. Basically, Zappa went to a gig that they were doing, and Alice and the guys got up on stage and started their act, and within 3 minutes, there were 4 people in the room instead of 1,000.
Hmm.
And one of them was Frank, and one of them was Alice's wife.
Hmm.
And he goes, I don't understand it, but I like it. I'm going to sign y'all. And basically, it was if this many people get offended by what you're doing, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was watching a video the other night. Um, you know how they do the reaction videos, and they
Yes, yes.
typically do somebody that doesn't typically listen to that kind of music or whatever.
Yes, those are the ones I like the best.
Well, this one was a very educated man who happened to be African American, and he was watching Weird Al for the first time.
Ooh, I envy that experience.
It's funny because he's saying all these big words, and at first he doesn't understand it's a parody. And it's fun as he realizes eventually what's going on, and that's part of the entertainment of watching it.
Comedy, a difficult subject. Yes. Uh, yeah. There are several folks that I will subscribe to their reaction video channels, and usually it's folks that they grew up with one type of music, but they're
Hmm.
trying to branch out into listening to a wider variety. So a lot of things that I grew up with, they have yet to experience. Good night, Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Not Carl.
And they have discovered all kinds of people from Frank Sinatra to the Beach Boys to oh well, there were it goes the list goes on and on. I'm not going to sit here and name drop because
Yeah, I,
I don't
I
ha-
have.
I don't actually know Frank Sinatra or the Beach Boys, so you know.
I have. I have to be careful when I get on YouTube because it's one of those things I can
Very deep
turn.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, I can get lost for hours and hours. In fact, there was one night I
Yep.
only wound up getting about 2 hours of sleep because I went down the rabbit hole.
And
Yeah,
Chris,
especially those damn shorts.
that Rob Squad reactions is one of my favorites.
I think I told them about you a while back, and they were I enjoy them because they generally have an interest in the songs and
Hmm.
they learn stuff, and it's fun watching them,
It,
especially when it's something they didn't think they knew, but they've heard it before, and they're like, "Oh man, now I know."
that was in this movie, wasn't it? Yeah. Now you can listen to the entire thing instead of just a clip.
Yeah.
There's several others that now there are a few that I have
Now Joe got me started on watching No Life Shack.
yep, yep.
Now it's fun watching him react to Tennessee whiskey.
But there's a couple that you know they've heard this before
Yeah.
because their reactions they're not that good an actor. They can't
Yeah.
fake. This is the first time I ever heard it.
Did
And
I
once
ever send you the link to Weibo reacts to Ted Nugent's Stranglehold?
no, but don't bother.
Oh, it's
I'm
hilarious, Dan.
I'm no longer fond of Ted Nugent. Used to think back
No,
in the '70s I thought he was cool, but nowadays I think, how did I ever think he was cool?
Dan is hilarious. He thinks his name's Nugget.
Nugget.
You gotta watch it. It's worth it.
Oh Lord. Uh, Mike Jimmy just tagged me.
You're it.
Oh wow! And it's Saturday. He's awake, and well, it's early Sunday for him. But
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and send him the link. I mean, good grief! And he can tell us about his success with Life on Korra and whatever
Dutch
else.
Comic Con.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, he may be. He may actually be at his table in the Comic Con by now. Of course, it might be early morning there, but not quite as early morning as it is here. Sadly, he's heading out in 10 minutes to the Comic Con, so he's not going to be able to join us tonight.
Oh, good luck,
Well,
my brother.
really, sell lots of books.
Yep.
And wish you great success.
Hope you get a ton of them.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'm sure he's posted the link of the animation that he's doing for the comic.
Gonna be on
And
Kickstarter in January of 2023.
he asked me to do a 30-second piece of music for the intro to the animated movie that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved what I did. So I'm going, okay, this is going to be fun. Can't wait till the next time. Give me a time limit. I pretty much already have the instrumentation lined up. Oh, I've got to start the music writing program again. It's probably about time it got some updates and things. So,
Oh yeah. While I have both of you here,
oh boy, what do we do now?
no, this is
He was dead when I got there, I swear. Just give me a few minutes to fix the timestamps on the video to show I was in Bora Bora.
no, this was a question regarding software programs that y'all like. I'm in the process of getting a new desktop parts assembled and put it together, and
Okay, I'll do my best.
I was looking for ideas. I'm looking at Adobe Elements and just wondering some ideas from other stuff. Basically anything that's not your typical gaming stuff or
If
Depends
you're
on
going
what
to
you want to
do
do.
anything with audio editing or recording, Audacity is a wonderful tool. It was just a perfect tool for tearing things apart, playing with things, learning the idea, learning sound form, and watching how the waveform
Watching the
is and stuff like
waveform,
that.
yeah.
Now, there are much better audio editing programs out there, but Audacity is 100% completely free.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
you can produce it, and then you can put it into Apple format. You can put it as a wave. You can put it as an MP3. Used to be you have to download a secondary plugin to do that, but as of 2 or 3 versions ago, they actually built it in so that it's part of the codec already. It's a wonderful free tool to play with to see how far you want to go so that you're not dropping hundreds if not thousands of dollars on a more expensive program just to learn I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah, or the learning curve is too steep on this program.
Yeah.
Because I have done that. I have bought very expensive audio or video editing software and go, just let me drag and drop stuff. I mean, why do I have to learn Unix to be able to start this thing or
So
whatever?
we use Adobe Captivate to record our in-house videos that we create for the e-learnings that we do for the firm. we use Audacity to do the recording and also the audio editing and leveling and pulling out all the echo and the room reverberations and extra breaths and stuff like that. So we don't go hardcore into it, but we do use it fairly extensively.
And Carl wrote a book on how to use Audacity.
Yes, he did.
And it is. If Carl wrote it, it's excellent.
The audacity of Carl to write on Audacity.
Yes, but still, it's a good, fun program. It's free. The free version, you can only do one thing at a time, basically, if I understand it correctly. They may have fixed that. They may have given it a little bit more functionality in the free version.
You can put in a shit ton of different tracks and run it at the same time and stuff like that. I mean, it's very fully featured, and again, you only want to do like one small so you want to go ahead and remove the extra reverberation that's going through, so the noise reduction. You want to reduce your noise before you go in, and then you level it to make sure that if you're talking too quietly, that it kind of boosts that stuff, and it kind of takes the stuff that's at the high end and kind of shoves it down to keep things somewhat level. And again, there are much more powerful tools out there that can do a lot more stuff, but Audacity is a great place to start learning. So that's always good. If you're doing
will teach you how to use some of the expensive stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm planning on getting Photoshop Elements and Premiere Elements 2023. Found a decent price on it, about almost $50 drop in price. So
yeah, I luck out. I get to play with Adobe Creative Suite Professional for free because I have to use it for work. So it's on my it's actually my work laptop is below my laptop right now.
Yeah,
but it's on there. Captivate's on there. And it really depends what you're wanting to do. It's GIMP is a great tool that is, again, another free tool that can do a lot of the same stuff that Photoshop can. Now, again, Photoshop is a more powerful tool that you can probably do a few other things with. But I will try to find the post because a few years ago when Adobe jacked up its price almost $20 a month on a lot of things, there's a lot of creators that were out there that are like, you know what, fuck you, Adobe. We're going out, we're finding everything that we can use that's free, that's comparable to your software, and we're going to disseminate this everywhere that we can. Just because if you're doing this, we're going to find the affordable option instead of that. Now, and Adobe has lost its licensing rights to Pantone colors beyond a basic pack. So Pantone is going to its own subscription service for you to be able to buy those pictures or buy those tones. But that's it doesn't really matter if you're just noodling about. I mean, if you're okay, apparently I had part of a tooth disintegrate again.
That sounds painful.
No, it was just a little crumbly bit. Literally the size of a crumb.
No. Well, at least it's only that small.
Yeah.
Now, if you are looking for something that, wait a minute, let me start over. If you can't afford Word and Excel and their family of stuff, if you don't want to pay a subscription price, look into Apache OpenOffice.
Okay.
And it is free. It is
Do they come on like CD-ROMs, or do I have to download it?
You can download it, and
Download.
it's really quick. It is one of those things where uh, you are getting the benefit of a lot of people that go, that's too
Open source.
easy to pay for. Yeah, the open source, and they do really really good work. Plus, you have the ability to save things in file formats that are uh, easily interpreted by the programs that they are supplanting. So you can do you can do a spreadsheet in Open Office and save it as an Excel,
Okay.
and Excel has no problem reading it. Or you can save it as a Word file, and Word has no problem reading it.
So in the private chat, I listed a life hacker link to 13 reasonable alternatives to Adobe's expensive apps.
There you
And
go.
there's another one out there that goes into even more than that. It's I had to laugh and smile at how pissed that person obviously was at Adobe that they spent that time combing through and finding all that information. Because I am a try before I buy person.
Yeah.
And this goes back to magic tricks when I was a kid, because I would buy, get it home, have no idea how to do the goddamn thing. So I was happy when I started working in a magic shop. Our thing was, when you bought the magic trick, one of the people would take you to a more secluded portion of the shop and actually teach you how to do the damn trick. So not only were we allowed to actually take tricks from the cabinet home to learn them, we were expected to. So basically, it's like, all right, I'm taking the hopping half home tonight and learning. I didn't have to. I actually bought it, before I started working for the shop, and it was one of my go-to tricks. I loved it. One of the most fun tricks ever. And Scotch and soda variant on it is another good trick. If you like doing silly bar bets where you're getting someone to buy you a drink, or just screwing around and stuff like that. Both of those are very, very, very fun tricks. Sorry, I digress.
Well, that's fine. I'm enjoying listening to the thing because, like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm
Well,
slowly getting this stuff together.
what else, or what other
Do you want to
types
do
of
video
programs do you
editing,
need?
image editing, audio editing, recording? Are you preparing to do some broadcasts, like you're recording a YouTube show or something like that? OBS Studio can be very helpful with that. StreamYard is another wonderful tool.
Well, yeah, I'm planning on getting to where I can, if Joe will trust me, getting ops things so I can help out with the broadcast when I'm able to attend on it. I would like to do some audio editing, some with instruments. I've got a keyboard and an actual keyboard, not like the computer keyboard. And
Yeah, I got to get a power adapter for the one I've got in the storage unit. I got to grab the one I've got over at my dad. Actually, I got to technically grab two of the ones I have over at my dad's house. I've got a 1974 Wurlitzer organ, big organ, that my mom decided was mine before she passed. But I just haven't had room in any of the places to put it. Now that Dad's passed and we're getting rid of his place, I've got to find some place to stash that or sell it.
This is not the green room. This is not the green room. And Richie, you know exactly what I was going to say.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. The place to stash my Oregon is down the hall. She's currently sleeping. She's got to work in the morning. I get it. I get it.
No, I was gonna say, leave it to Richie to brag about his massive organ. So
Well, they do call me Dick for a reason. Because of my personality, but that's beside the point.
yeah. Oh,
But yeah, the only thing I'm up in the air about is solid state drive. I know
definitely.
Thank
those
you.
that connect directly into the motherboard.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the ones I'm talking about, the ones that look like memory DIMMs,
Yeah.
and there's also the ones that are like 2.5 inch things that have the protective cover that look like a slightly smaller 3.5 inch floppy drive.
Yeah.
Yep.
But those are
So
pretty fast too.
yeah, nowadays they're pretty good. The beautiful thing about a solid state drive is there's no moving parts, so you don't have to worry about a bad drive head or something like that messing up or anything like that. The bad thing about it is if it corrupts, you're probably screwed. Where a mechanical drive,
Oh, I'm gonna have both. My
like
mechanical
these, they can actually take the platters out, slip them in something else, and you're good to go.
yeah.
Yep.
Yes, I actually have a hard drive. Actually, a
I've
stack
got
of 3 hard drives sitting next to my.
I've got a box of dead hard drives that the only thing that's wrong with them is the electronics have died. The
Yeah.
disk is fine.
Yeah.
This isn't dead. This is.
The only thing I'm trying to decide about the mechanical one is if I can live with a 5400 RPM or if I need to spring a little extra for the 7200. Because my operating system is going to be on a solid state drive. My mechanical is basically for pictures, images, and
honestly, anything that you want to do of speed, put it on the solid state. Solid state is going to be a faster seat, faster everything. So if you've got your solid state that you're relying on that for everything that's speed related, you can live with that lower RPM drive.
Yeah. You won't even notice it,
And
really.
it's also going to be a little bit easier on the
Oh,
the
absolutely.
decibel there. Although if you're buying the parts this time of year, that 7200 might not be a bad option to get because you might see, especially coming Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all this stuff, you might see some good prices on that. Now,
There is
you might want to look at Tiger Direct and Newegg
Newegg, yes.
for parts.
Oh, Newegg's where I'm got some of them already ordered from.
Yep. I shop extensively with both of those sites.
And I live close enough to one of their distribution centers that anything I buy is pretty much next day, even if I do standard shipping.
Yep.
I found an
I'm in
8
the same
terabyte,
situation.
7200 RPM for about $230.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Now I can get an 8 terabyte, 5400 RPM for about 140.
Now, I would also recommend getting an external hard drive that's large enough to back up everything.
Yeah, I plan on doing that at some point. But like I said, the main point right now is just getting the parts assembled and all that. Of course, I got to get my internet fixed, and they're supposed to come out and take a look at it Tuesday, which I hope I don't miss any work for. I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of Western Digital hard drives, external drives. I've got
Well,
I've got
I'm a
a
big
I've got a
fan of
10
video.
terabyte sitting there,
Yeah.
and they now have a 15 terabyte.
hmm
And
Um,
Well, I
I
decided to go with the non. I was looking at NAS, but I don't really plan on having a network, and I don't think there's any point in me having a network attached storage device.
um,
it depends,
it depends on
now
what you're doing and your own personal situation. I
it
would.
makes sense for me. It makes sense for Kiri because we play around with security stuff
Mm-hmm.
and creating our virtual labs and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. If you're not doing a whole hell of a lot of that stuff, probably you're better off just getting a couple of external, 5 terabyte or 10 terabyte, 12 terabyte, whatever, and
Oh,
and
I'm doing
just
the internal stuff because I like the SAT connections.
well, the reason why I suggest, and I think Dan might echo this as well, is another beautiful thing about having this external backup is I've got a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stuff on my laptop that
Mm-hmm.
I back up to here on a regular basis, and
Mm-hmm.
oh hey, Dad's computer's acting kind of funny. Grab this, grab my power adapter for it, grab
Mm-hmm.
my USB cable for it, take
Yeah.
it over to Dad's house, and I've got all the software I need to pull over and go, okay, needs to be fixed, redo this, whatever. So and if you're doing storage of videos and stuff like that, having an external backup is never a bad thing at all. Now,
No.
Mm-hmm.
I love Western
Multiple
Digital.
backups.
I had actually got the 2 year data recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and because the first one of these that I got, it died inside of a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pissed. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I was looking through my email and I saw the thing for it. I'm like, oh, that's right, I did get that, didn't I? So, contacted them. They're like, yeah, sent it in. They sent me back a brand new 5 terabyte while recovering the data. And then they sent the data on a 4 terabyte, which actually my 4 terabyte is currently in my hand. Then I'm like, okay, do you need me to send that back? They're like, nope, keep it. It's free. All right.
Yes,
So
dear.
this was a refurb that they did. So they refurbished and
Mm-hmm.
they just so my 5 terabyte probably got refurbished for the backup for someone else's. So it's a 4 terabyte drive for free.
Mm.
Oh, sure, yeah. I won't complain. Thank you.
Oh, really? No.
That's what it's going in.
But now, depending on what else you've got to do, there's a lot of free programs out there you can look up to download. It depends. I have become very unsatisfied with AVG Avast antivirus because it's nagware.
Yeah.
They keep wanting me to buy the pro version.
Yeah.
And I'm going, why do you think I've been using the free version for 20 years?
Yep. I used to love Avast. I still like it better than AVG, but and I used to like Norton too. I
Yep.
have never
Now,
liked McAfee, and I
you,
uninstall it every time I get something with it on it.
Well,
you,
I've
you get what you
really,
pay for.
yeah, I really loved the McAfee for a long time, and then I got an update, and it was a CD-ROM, and it would not let me go online at all. I couldn't connect to my ISP, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I uninstalled it, got online, wrote them a nice email, said I'm sorry, but this is not working. And they said, okay, that's fine. Here's your money back. let us know, and keep the install disk just in case you change your mind.
Mhm.
And I said, yeah, well, until my situation changes, I probably won't. And they go, that's fine. Uh, just if you ever change your mind, put the disc back in, and we'll give you free updates and everything as part of the package, because we've got your complaint about this error on file. And I'm going, that's great, but now on the workstation I'm using right now,
Mhm.
I'm using the Windows antivirus,
Yeah.
and so far it's painless. But
I I
I
do pop
don't go
versions myself.
surfing anywhere on this computer, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not running any huge risks. It's not like
Yeah.
I was 18 anymore and going on Persian Kitty and looking for um, photographs. So you know, um, now what else would you like to do with this newly constructed box?
Um, like I said, I want to do a little bit of editing, both audio and video. I want to be able, of course, put my music on it. That's why I want a huge hard drive. Like I said, I figure that's the problem. I bought too small of a solid state drive for my first computer, and I filled it up with so much music I kept having to delete stuff just to keep what I had on it. I moved it, and then the images that I had saved and loaded onto it, I just, like I said, I kept running out of room, and then I'm like, well, I can put the photos and the music on the mechanical drives and save space for the operating system and anything that I really needed to do fast on the solid state drive.
Yeah,
And like I said,
Well, a lot of laptops will actually have two solid state bays.
mhm,
So um, I can actually, so my laptop's only 250 gig.
mhm,
Uh, so I can drop in a 3.5 of whatever I want. I can drop in another solid state, which I'm thinking of because a decent solid state that'll fit my machine should go for about $100 or so for a terabyte. This time of year, as we go into the holidays and stuff like that, I might even be able to find something, even more space for about $100. Because again, Black Friday deals,
yeah.
yep,
things go nuts. Um, but yeah, and right now I've got yeah, I play World of Warcraft. My World of Warcraft, a couple of the other games that I play, stuff like that take up a huge amount of space. Diablo, all
Yeah.
that is actually on my external uh, 5 terabyte that I've just
Yeah.
ported over there for right now. I'm like, when I install the terabyte drive, we're all good. Um, so
So what is this Mastodon that Kiri brought up?
uh,
it's
I mean, I know there's a band called Mastodon, but I figure this is
that
something
no, no,
unrelated.
I think he's talking about the social media site.
Oh,
yeah. Um,
I know a couple years ago or a year ago, I had friends that were talking about it.
mhm.
I don't know of anyone that went to it yet.
That's
um,
the SSD drive I'm looking at, Rich. I just put in the private chat. Nice.
Bought that for 75% off when Radio Shack was going out of business.
I miss that store.
I
So
do
do I.
too.
The old store, but not before they tried to do the iPhone showcase that just totally.
Yeah, I mean,
I would
seriously.
have liked to talk to the person that made that decision before they made it official. Like, do you realize there are people that do this way better than you do and make far more money at it than you're going to make at it? Especially as much money as they spent redoing the stores.
And there are a lot of people that shop here that don't need cell phones, but
Yep.
they do need speakers and mixing boards and a lot of other stuff, even a rheostat or
Yeah.
uh, connectors, whatever. Back when I was in the garage band, I rebuilt lots of
Touchdown
speaker
tool.
cabinets. Yeah, I rebuilt lots of speaker cabinets for the band.
Yeah.
Going to Radio Shack and 15-inch,
Cat 5
100-watt speaker.
cables, 45
Yeah,
jacks,
Yeah.
seriously. I mean, it was
RC components.
it
Yeah.
was a shop for hobbyists, and then it became a cell phone store,
Yeah.
and then it
If
went out
Radio
of
Shack was
business.
around, we could definitely design the thing for Joe Dog's tree to start barking to scare the cats out of the tree.
Hey, it probably wouldn't cost more than $20-$30.
Yeah.
Seriously, I
And
I
that's getting
love the
fancy.
I love
Some.
the realistic mixing boards, the little 6-channel mixing boards.
Yeah.
I slapped two of those together, ran it through a pair of cassette decks into a reel-to-reel tape recorder. I had something better than the Beatles were using at Abbey Road back in the day. You know, this is the only thing. The only thing you couldn't do is plug a bass guitar directly into it,
Yeah.
because whatever channel that was, the bass would fry that that channel. It developed a lot of noise
Yeah.
after um, a year or so of use. There's something about the signal from a bass guitar that their mixing boards did not like. They would handle it under protest, but you plug a stereo into it, and it would be distorted slightly after you had abused it with a bass guitar. And considering that was my main that was my favorite axe. Um, yep, I did some damage in my youth.
Huh.
Uh, yeah, I don't know what it is. But it was just I was using it as a line in. No amplifier or anything else. It just eventually using a bass, and it didn't happen with a 6 string, just a bass. So there's something about bass guitar signals that sort of mixing board did not enjoy working with.
Radio Shack still exists as a website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought they totally went out of business. They just closed
Well,
the brick and mortars, huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, a lot of
Uh,
them's doing that. I mean, the online shopping is convenient, but there's some things I want to see in person before I
yes.
purchase them.
Yes.
Well, not just
Uh,
that. It's nice to go. You know, I can go drive 20 minutes, spend 5 minutes in the store, get what I want, and be home and have my stuff repaired instead of,
Yeah.
oh, go to the website, get distracted by about 15 million other things, drop
Mhm.
about $100 more in my cart than I really want to have bought in the first place, um, and then wait 2-3 days for it to arrive.
Yeah,
And
that's
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 if you pay for the outrageous shipping.
that's
mhm.
part of the appeal to the retailers is to have you spend that extra money instead of just the laser focus on the one thing that you need. Of course, if you have the ADHD that I have, I can go into a store and be focused and then lose focus because like, ooh, shiny.
Uh-huh. Lindsay and I went shopping at at a TJ Maxx. She was looking at clothes. I walked out with a vinyl record player that plugged into the computer and a chest of drawers that was really nice. And I'm going, um, it's really nice, but I don't need it. Lindsay goes, I'll put my clothes in it then.
Did you see the solid state drive I was looking at, Rich?
Oh yes.
What were your thoughts on that?
That
Be honest.
Looks like a good price. Looks like a decent deal. It looks like something that should perform nicely too.
Yeah, I've got the one that I bought was like 256 gigabytes, which was the most I could afford when I was building my last one at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And God, it got filled up quick. It might have even been 500 gigabytes, but
Yeah,
it got filled up quick.
They do. It doesn't matter how big a drive you've got. You're going to fill
it's
it up.
how you use it.
And
Oh wait, sorry.
and I had a 4 terabyte mechanical to go with it.
I remember when a 100 meg drive was more space than I thought I would ever be able to fill up.
Okay, Rich, I'm going to date myself. I remember when I bought my first computer and I sprung for a 8.4 gigabyte hard drive.
Child.
My first computer didn't have a hard drive. We had to load DOS off of a disk.
Yeah, well, my first
A
computer
cartridge
was
you plug
Commodore
in the side.
My first computer was Commodore 64.
Okay, actually, I take it back. My first computer hooked up to the TV was a hell, why can't I remember it? Aquarius. It was an Aquarius sold by KB Toy and Hobby.
Remember that store fondly.
And it had a couple of games to plug in the back, and the other thing I did on it was code in BASIC.
I started off with a TRS-80 Model 3.
Yeah. Well, I remember Uncle.
And it was brand new. Seriously, went to Radio Shack and bought a computer. Yes, had to keep swapping cartridges every time I wanted to change things. I eventually got a 5 1/4 inch floppy drive that would plug in there, 2 bays, and was running OS 3 as well as being able to use DOS and whatever else was available.
I remember my uncle getting an Apple IIc for Christmas. And I got to play one of my favorite games of all time. Wizardry by Surtec.
Now, my first desktop computer, Windows computer, was also from Radio Shack. It was a 386, and it had a whopping 20 megabyte hard drive. And so we thought, oh no, we'll never fill that up.
That's what you think.
The first computer my dad bought for the house.
It took 2 years, but I finally filled it up.
And he was so pissed off at me because he told me how much he spent on it, and I'm like, okay, Dad. I could have got him twice the machine for half the cost. because the Tandies they were not a good machine.
For
They were
somebody that
decent.
for
Mine,
somebody that's just starting out and didn't know any better, I mean,
mine
the
was a 286 that ran at an 8088 speed. It was basically a computer. It was basically a calculator with an ego problem.
yeah. Now it got better when Windows 3.1 went to 3.11, and we put in a math coprocessor chip, and I went to a higher number of megabytes on the hard drive because megabytes was all you could get.
We had to hack the computer so we could actually put a hard drive in it. That my computer wasn't supposed to be able to accommodate a hard drive.
I have often wondered what kind of wizardry would it take to get that Coco 3 to actually take out one of the 5 1/4 floppy drives and put in a serious hard drive. I don't know. It would probably take somebody that's a hell of a lot more skilled than I will ever be. But, it's just like, yes.
Wizardry, actual wizardry.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend from college carved this for me, based off of what my wand would be. Harry Potter quiz from Pottermore.
Yeah. Like I said, I used to love playing that game. That and Epic's games. They did Summer and Winter Olympics. They had both ones in that little bitty, huge base joystick and real tiny joystick on it. The base of it, like I said, was huge, but then you had that little tiny stalk with the plastic tip on the end that you moved around to position all the athletes, and especially thinking about the diving, because you wanted to make sure they were in a pike position when they started going down. Lots of fun for simple games back then, but to us they were more. Oh, and do you remember Battle Chess?
Yes. I also loved the Sierra series of games. In fact, when Steam came out with a pack that had all the Sierra games, all the King's Quests, all the Space Quests, the Police Quests. I don't know if it had the Leisure Suit Larrys or not. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yes, I'm buying this. So I got to reinstall Heroes. Sorry, they changed it because the board game sued them. So Quest for Glory is what they ended up renaming it to. I loved that game.
That's the one I would like to get, but it's a little bit pricey. But
still, I mean, seriously, you're going to
four. That's not bad at all. Yeah.
And well, I mean, and then you've got. Okay, I'm going to sound like one of my friends that actually was a sysadmin. You got to have the fastest processor you can get and the most RAM you can cram into the box. I mean, seriously, max everything out and then worry about the hard drives. It doesn't matter how fast the physical drives spin. If you've got a slow processor on the motherboard, it's going to be molasses in January.
well,
And thankfully nowadays you're pretty easily able to afford things that are I mean, they seem like wizardry to what I was used to back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I mean, if I had had this little workstation instead of the 286, I probably could have hacked the Pentagon if I were so inclined, and they wouldn't have noticed because it'd be like a duck mating in and out really quick. But
Well,
no, and I don't have those skills, so
that's what I'm
studio
looking at.
audience, don't worry. I'm not a hacker, and nothing like that. I don't have the interest, and I don't have the education. So save your hate mail for somebody that really deserves it. Um,
It's decent.
um, but without a very very fast processor and all the RAM you can pack into the damn thing, you're not going to be able to do stuff like we're doing now with the green screen and everything else. It's going to picket fence like nobody's business. And even then, you could have the most fantastic box that you could buy. If you don't have a good internet connection,
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried
it's
about.
a brick. Um, there's so much more to doing what you want to do, especially if you're uploading or downloading, that depends on things on the other end of the telephone line, not what you've got on your desk. You can have the
Also,
greatest
Chris,
thing ever.
Mm.
check out humblebundle.com. Every once in a while, actually, they very often they have software bundles and stuff like that they put out. I don't know what bundles they currently have, but sometimes they've got some really good stuff out there for sound editing and stuff like that, where you'll have a bunch of different plugins and stuff like that. So let's look at software right now. So what are we looking at? So they've got a game art learn blender, low poly 3D bundle, mega music maker bundle. There's 8 days left on that one. Now, Humble Bundle, a good portion of those what you spend there goes to charity.
Okay.
So what it is they will offer do Humble Bundle software, or I usually go for books. So there's book bundles and stuff like that. I usually buy the book bundles. They're digital books, but still.
Yeah.
I can spend $18 and get a couple $100 worth of manuals for programming or various game companies and stuff like that. So Mega Music Maker, spectacular samples, loops, and more for music makers. Future Bass Essentials 1, Call My Name, Future Pop, Guitar Pop, The Ride, Cinematic Sorcerers, Special Edition. So yeah, there's a shit ton of packs in here that
is that actually the Music Maker program?
Let's see.
Because that's what I use to compose all my shit. Is Music Maker. And I have been using it since 2011.
Doesn't look like the actual Music Maker is part of this bundle. Looks like this is just a bunch of loops and stuff like that to import into whatever you're using.
Okay.
Producer loops. This bundle features epic quality and quantity, featuring 55 royalty-free sample packs with 15,750 wave loops / one-shots and over 3,500 MIDI files. Don't miss the rare chance to get over $1,700 plus in value, all while supporting Alzheimer's Research UK and Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Mhm.
Well, son of
Yeah.
a. And
I have.
25 bucks for this pack.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, it,
And again, it helps Alzheimer's research, which is really near and dear to my heart. Alzheimer's and
mine
diabetes
too.
research
It
are
got my grandma.
Yep.
got my
My
grandma
dad.
too. And since it's so closely related to diabetes, I'm afraid it's going to get me. Um, I keep telling Misty that if I start showing signs of dementia, I need to be put in a home if I get violent. Considering fencing and the issues I had as a preteen and a teen with as far as emotional issues and stuff like that, if I revert back to that state, put me in a home, a high security home, um, because I do not want to hurt anyone because I reverted back to a person I outgrew.
Mm.
But there's the last few pieces of the basic uh, core of the system I'm planning on getting together.
It looks good to me. I'm not an expert. Don't try this at home.
I'm
Uh,
not either, but I'm trying to get the best bang for the buck.
yep.
And the only thing, like I said, I'm the solid state drive. That's like I said, I was pretty pleased with the speed of my MX. That was considerably less capacity than this one. But the solid state that attaches directly to the motherboard instead of having an SAT connector.
Hmm.
You know, that's a lot of capacity there.
Yep. And if I may,
Mm-hmm.
there is a 5 bay uh, hard drive enclosure from a
Mm-hmm.
company called Orico,
Mm-hmm.
Orico. You can take a variety of old hard drives,
Mm-hmm.
plug them into this thing, and it plugs in, and you close the door. It's installed.
Mm-hmm.
Switch it on, and you have a mini tower of all your old hard drives from other computers.
Mm-hmm.
Which you can pull the data off of those, and it doesn't matter if they were at one time a bootable drive
Mm-hmm.
in charge of your other computer. It will ignore that completely because your computer is pulling it off of in your case, in this case, the solid state
Mm-hmm.
bootable drive you've assigned. It will ignore all that crap, but you have access to all the other files that are on there. On
Cool.
any, I've got teeny tiny solid state drives. I've got old SATA drives that just plug them in when I need that. And what I basically did was I pulled everything off of there and backed it up onto an external hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
a
What?
a, uh, a solid state external hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
and
Tell me the
it's
name of
there
this
just in
product
case I
again.
need it. But yeah, I mean, and once you've copied everything off of there you need, you can open the drawer, pull out that one, and plug in something else. If you find a deal
Mm-hmm.
on a 2.5 inch or the standard SATA or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you just put it in the drawer, close the door. It's installed. It's ready to use.
Yeah.
Uh, for somebody that has an awful lot of dead computers
Mm-hmm.
that you've salvaged the hard drives from,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great way to pull off files that you used to have that you really didn't want to lose and back them up elsewhere.
Yep.
And what was this product again?
and Orico 3.5 HDD external enclosure.
Okay.
So I've got the full size hard drives in there, and I've got the little bitty teeny tiny thin things. It doesn't matter as long as you plug it in and the door closes. It's installed, and it USBs into your uh, main computer. You switch it on. It's got an external power supply, so it's not drawing power off of your box. You plug it in, you turn it on. This thing it gives me 5 extra hard drives.
Reminds me of my favorite story to tell about my pop. So my father was a HVAC technician, furnace and air conditioning installer, um, from shortly before I was born up until somewhere in my 40s. Um, but in my 20s, I moved back home uh, because things got screwed up. So for Christmas, I decided to buy him a bunch of computer upgrades. So I bought him a bunch of stuff, and he opens it. We do our Christmas thing on Christmas Eve. Christmas morning, about 3 a.m., I'm playing a video game. I hear, I'm like, yeah, Richie? Yeah? You up? Yeah? You want to install that stuff in my computer now? Yeah, Dad, give me a minute to get out of the game. I'll be down in a minute. I get down, and he was so anxious to do it, he had actually completely disassembled his computer
Ooh.
and laid it all on the carpet.
On the carpet?
On the carpet.
Oh, there wasn't no stack electricity in it.
1970s wool carpet.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear. How much of it died?
Thankfully, none.
Oh, man.
He lucked out so hardcore, it's not even funny.
Uh-huh.
But I get down there, and I'm just shaking my head, and I start putting things together. He's like, that's not how it goes. That's not how it goes. I just kind of look at him and go back to doing it. He's like, that's not how it goes. I'm like, Dad, do I tell you how to fix furnaces? He gives me this look like I'm a dumbass. He's like, no, why would I? Oh, I'm like, don't tell me how to do my job. I'm like, Dad, I built this. I know how it was put together.
Mhm.
I built it. I repair it all the time. I'm intimately familiar with your computer.
Is that what you're talking about, Dan?
Let me see.
Last link I put in.
Actually, no. That's an external drive enclosure.
Okay. But I at least found the right name.
Yep. USB 3.0 to SATA external hard drive. Yeah. No, the one. It's easier if I just turn the bloody camera around.
Mhm.
All right.
Ooh.
That thing.
Nice.
Yep. And each one of these doors pop open and a hard drive goes into it. And there are 5 bays.
I actually have a cable that works for IDE or SATA. This is an IDE drive here, but works for IDE or SATA that turns it into a USB drive.
Cool.
And then when we were moving, I finally found the other cable I had bought years earlier that people kept moving on me that did the same thing. So the last time I did it, I wrote on the box, Rich's tools, do not move, I will break your hands.
Like that's going to work.
Oh, it did. It did. They didn't touch it. I've got no problem with people using my tools as long as they put them back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Although I I get crispy when I see anyone digging in here because I'm like, those are my precision tools. No, you don't screw with these. I got other tools over here, But I need to change the battery in my. There's a precision screwdriver set right there that'll work just as good. You do not have to mess with my computer tools.
I think I might have found it, Dan.
I think you did. I think you did. It's not brushed aluminum, but
That's other color choice available. That was just the standard one that came up first.
yep, that does look exactly like it. And oh yes, that's it. That's it. But basically, those dry bays just you undo the latch over on the left hand side. The door opens. You can pull out the hard drive. No, there's no wires to reconnect or anything. You plug a hard drive in there. You close it. You switch the power on. Once that USB cable is connected to your computer, that drive is alive.
An internal version of that is one of the things that I was installing in the store I was just talking about for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Upgraded my dad's memory, installed that, installed another permanent drive, and a couple of other things. But I still laugh to this day at just the look on my dad's face when I'm like, do I tell you how to fix furnaces? No.
You really?
Don't tell me how to fix computers.
Uh-huh.
And he never questioned me ever again after that. That was for the first time my father actually looked at me on a level um, of equality almost.
Adult to adult.
By being, looked at me as a professional, not just, the dumb screw up, fat ass kid that he raised for, 20 some years,
Yep. Oddly enough, there was a time that I found out that as excellent a machinist as my father was, and his ability to read blueprints and make a part using a machine shop, he was not visually oriented. We were having to build something. I thought I had a great idea of how to make it work, and I described it to him, but he couldn't see it.
Yeah.
His imagination would not stretch that far. And I'm going, but you're smarter than I am. You ought to have thought of this first. No, he could look at a drawing and reproduce it in 3 dimensions. He could not look at a pile of parts and mentally imagine how they would fit together. And if this hinge was here and that hinge was there, and you had something to pull this cord, would it do what he wanted to do? And I'm going, I may be wrong, but I think we can do this. He couldn't see it. He couldn't see it. It did, and it's
the
not
3D
his fault.
spatial, yeah.
Yeah, it's not anybody's fault one way or the other. People have different ways of conceptualizing how things work
Yeah.
or how things could work even if they haven't been built yet. and I just happened to think one way, and he just happened to think a different way. It's probably why I would I would more than likely make a very, very poor machinist, but he was excellent. And oh Lord, do not ever make the mistake of turning that man loose on a pool table. You will lose your money in a heartbeat because geometry was inbred. I mean, he could think a pool
Second
table.
nature.
I swear. He actually impressed a guy, one of the next door neighbors that came over because we had a pool table in the basement. Uh, this guy had paid his way through college by playing pool.
One
And
other thing
that
I was going to ask you, Rich. Do you think I need to use all four of the memory slots, or I'll be okay with two of them?
One second. Let me go back to.
Chris, as long
Um,
as the memory's maxed out, it doesn't matter how many slots you use.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, it's only going to use so much.
Yeah.
Whatever its limit is, once you reach that, anything else is wasted.
Well,
so 64 gig per stick.
it's 32 per stick, but 64 total.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, because it's a 2 sticks. Okay.
Yeah.
64. 64, you should be good. You shouldn't have to go all the way up to 128.
Yeah.
Especially if the box won't take 128. If
Yeah.
64 is all it'll handle,
Oh, that motherboard's an AM5 one. It's for the newest generation of AMD processors, so it's pretty well. I mean, it's DDR5. It's not even DDR4.
well, what I'm saying is if it's only built for 64,
I'm
anything
sure
else.
it's built for 128, but like I said,
Oh,
I
well,
figure
if it's built for 128, save your box tops and buy the other two and fill up the other two slots. But you know,
I figure I'm not going to be hurting with 64.
no, that's going to be pretty damn decent right there.
Yeah, I'd say get the 64, see how it performs. If you start seeing some lag, because with that processor and everything else, you should be pretty gold.
Yeah.
And
I
later
mean,
on, you might find a sale for the other 64.
Yeah. Well, this
yeah,
one don't sell to an extent, so
Hey,
there's actually higher prices on smaller modules.
yeah, and this is you get $10 off with the promo code. So, but
yep, I'm a big proponent of maxing everything out.
Yeah, I would love to get those video cards in Crossfire.
Well, read the reviews. That's all I can say, because that's something I don't know anything about. So to find out which is
Oh,
the
I'm
best
pretty sure I could.
ones.
yeah, read the reviews. Read the reviews on multiple sites. Look
Hmm.
for the same review posted over and over again, not only across sites but within a site, and also look for how bad the English is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of really bad punctuation, a lot of misspellings, a lot of really weird sentence structure,
Mhm.
it could be reviews that were purchased. Um,
Yeah.
Instead of the person purchasing the product and reviewing, It's someone saying, "Hey, I'll give you $500 if you go to these 10 sites and say how good my shit is."
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I usually like going with how many of them are 4 stars or above. And when 90% of them are 4 stars or above, and 81% of that 90% are 5 stars, I figure it's a good product.
Really, nobody's got that kind of money to buy reviews.
Yeah, always look at your 5 stars. Always look at your 1 stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the 1 stars might be something like, "I wanted this in blue and it came in navy." Well,
Yeah.
navy is blue, dumbass. Um,
Yep. But
it's
then again, there are those gyms that go, I got this right out of the box. It was a brick.
Yeah, well, a lot of them don't know to check the BIOS and make sure it's got the latest drivers and all that stuff.
Well, yeah,
Um,
you've got to take that into account, of course.
well, every once in a while too. You also do just get bad product. I mean,
oh
it
yeah,
happens.
there's a
Really.
limit to everything.
But
Last one I tried
90%
to
of the
build.
time, you've got it. You'll as long as you're buying from a reputable source and not some weird eBay vendor or something like that,
Yeah,
you can usually send it back and to get exchange or,
yeah,
sorry, we're out. We'll refund your money.
yeah.
Yep.
This one particular one had a price drop, and it I
Oof.
told you 81% were 5 stars, 9% were 4 stars, and another 6% were 3 stars. So 96% were 3 stars or higher.
Yeah,
I'd say it's a decent product.
yeah.
Yep. And always remember, no matter how good it is, there's a slight chance you might get a dud and have to send it back and exchange it for another one.
Yes.
And always be smarter than the product you're working on.
For some of us, that ain't easy to do,
Well,
Rich.
do you know what the first rule of computers is? Every good computer should come with an even better ball bat.
My major problem is there is a problem between the keyboard and chair.
Okay, I've used that in tickets.
Yeah.
I actually used to have a sign reading "Hepcat" above my desk. Another one that I had hanging above my desk is if the help desk thinks your question is stupid, we will set you on fire.
Mm.
That is still hanging in our help desk. Nobody took it down. The new help desk manager, who has no sense of humor.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't say new. They've been the help desk manager for about 10 years now, but still, they have no sense of humor. They apparently never look at the board. Actually, a lot of the comics that I pinned up there are still up there. Another one of my favorite ones is Deadpool going, "Shh, my common sense is tingling." Common sense, so rare it's a superpower.
Yes. I actually need that at work, but I'd probably get fired for posting it.
I also have that hanging above my cubicle currently. And my manager doesn't understand that she is one of the ones that it's talking. Uh,
I probably couldn't get away with Monty Python quotes, especially from yes, especially from the King Arthur movie, because the company's owned by the French, so
what retards slobbing? Oh, okay. You silly English Canadians.
Oh yeah.
Go away or I will taunt you again.
Yep.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries.
They probably would not get the humor intended. But,
It's like I told somebody one time that uh, obviously wasn't getting the humor from Monty Python. Like, it helps if you know some history
mhm.
and can put some context to what's going on. Because that's one thing about it. They did know their history and they were excellent at playing off certain events in it.
It also helps if the absurd doesn't cause your brain to lock up.
Yeah.
Absurdity is an art form,
Yes.
and
Dadgummit.
some people don't appreciate art.
Yeah, it's I learned to appreciate it at a very young age. I learned to embrace my insanity because where I'm at, shit does not have to make sense. If a purple dragon just goes walking down the street tomorrow and I witness it, I can be like, cool, dragon, and just keep on trucking because I realize I'm insane. Shit does not have to make sense. Were I sane, I would have to figure out how is there a dragon? Why is it purple? Why did it say hi, Bob? And my name is Frank. You know, um, it's just one of those wonderful things that's it's extremely freeing to not have to have the world make sense around you.
I did tell y'all about my theory about Bigfoot.
Hmm.
That he invested in a lot of Nair, and he's now in the pro wrestling circuit
Uh,
as the Big Show.
no, all the Bigfoot sightings and the footprints especially are John Cleese in a fur coat doing the Ministry of
That's
Clean
right.
Arts routine across the United States just because he can. Oh Lord. Um, but I am a science fiction writer. Sanity does not fit into the job description. Matter of fact, it is an impediment.
Same with horror and fantasy.
Uh-huh. Now, a conscience, that's an impediment.
To Congress?
Someday, no, no, to writing, some days you got to get the reader invested in a character and then kill the character. And
Or show that the character is a rotten douchebag.
that too, that's a totally different direction for what I'm, but the emotional uh, investment of the reader in that character, and then you snuffing them out like a candle.
And uh, the same with getting them emotionally invested in the character and doing the face heel turn.
That too. That's not the way that I write, but um, I can see the utility of that. It can be a useful thing. But
Especially when you need a big bad, or especially in horror. In horror, it's really handy because and also in horror, the killing people off and stuff like that. Because sometimes, the guy that you're like, oh, he's such a nice guy. Oh my God, he's about ready to be. Oh shit, he's the murderer. You know.
uh-huh.
Uh, so
And something I learned from Arthur Byron Cover. Sometimes the big bad is a character that you were introduced to in the first 20 pages,
I never saw it
and
coming.
they only had a cameo.
Mm-hmm.
They were not part of the main story. And your hero characters overlook it. It's
Yeah.
just somebody walking down the sidewalk, basically. Maybe lifts an eyebrow, and that's it. And then you get to the end, and that's the murderer.
Someone that just holds the door open for you, and
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, they have nothing else to do the rest of the story. Then you get to the end, and they go, "Well, yeah, if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have done this. I overheard you say that, so I went out and killed these 50 people just because you said that." And it's somebody that the narrator did not notice. Just somebody in the crowd in the background, briefly mentioned, very briefly described. But when you go back, you go, "That was him." Yeah, and it's incredibly subtle. And um, the first time you run up against something like that, it's like it was Jason's mom. Yeah, I mean, out of left field. I mean, so far out of left field that it was probably in another county. Um, but it tied everything together. You have to go back and read it again, looking for the clues that you missed the first time.
the Scream series, directed by
Mm.
Kevin Williamson, of Dawson's Creek fame. Um, he did a wonder of that with um, at least Screams 1 and 2. I don't remember what exactly happened in 3, and then I don't know if they've made any more past that. I think they did make a Scream 3 because I want to say Scream 3 was um, the one where uh, Jay and Silent Bob make a cameo, where they're on a set in Hollywood. Um, One was her in high school, two was in college, three they're making a movie on what happened to her, and it's continuing on or something like that. And I lost interest in the series after that, but um, they did a good job, and you know those movies are at least 30 years old for the first one, probably close to it on the second one. So you know, spoiler alert: if you haven't watched it in the past 30 years, you know. The killer was the boyfriend and the best friend that you see fairly early on in the movie, and it's they did a really good job. They made it really convoluted on why they were doing everything, but they explained it nicely. The one was just fucked in the head, and the other was getting vengeance for um, his girlfriend's mom causing his dad to leave his mom or some shit like that.
Mm. There was one that I saw one single time. It was a very, very low budget horror movie. Basically, a serial killer. But from the serial killer's point of view that was scattered through the movie, was putting puzzle pieces together. And these were Playboy Playmate puzzle pieces.
Okay.
And there were several different sets of these puzzles, but the pieces were shaped the same way from puzzle to puzzle. So you could mix up the pieces from one puzzle and have it lock into a totally different puzzle. And the guy is going around killing and mutilating women and absconding with body parts. And I'm looking at this and I'm looking at this and I'm going, there's got to be something to this besides, just showing pretty girls.
Is the killer cutting puzzle pieces out of the victims' bodies?
Exactly. He was building the perfect woman from his victims. I figured that out about halfway through the movie, and I'm going, oh, this is evil. Am I right? Am I right? Got to the end of the movie. That's exactly what was happening. He'd kill one girl for her hair, and another girl for her upper torso, and another girl for her hips, and another girl for her legs. It's just, and stitching them together in his basement into a Lady Frankenstein's monster, basically, that he had no hope of reanimating. And I'm going, what is wrong with you that you figured that out from watching this with no sound?
Yes, Rich, that's the difference in prices between the 2 terabyte and the 4 terabyte.
That's not a significant difference. I mean, seriously, you're gonna be spending that much?
Oh, that doesn't include what I've already spent.
But still, no. I mean, seriously, the difference between 2,800 and 2,940 is rather small. Once you've already gone to the commitment of gonna spend nearly $3,000 on this.
Now, that's with 2 video cards. If I drop one of them, that's $400 less. $420 less to be exact.
Why would you need 2 video cards? You're gonna run several monitors at once?
I'm just curious to see how much it was going to be if I do it, because that you can't beat that price for that much.
Well, multiple
Yeah.
video cards. If you decide to try to get into Bitcoin mining,
No, I don't want to do virtual currency. I don't believe in it.
yeah, it intrigues me, but I am too afraid of it.
Well, I don't understand how you can mine something that's not there.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it's speculative as hell.
I'm still wondering about the utility of 2 video cards unless they can run
You
in
can run them
parallel.
if it's AMD video cards. You run them in what's called Crossfire. If it was NVIDIA video cards, it would be an SLI, which is scalable link interface.
Let's try that without the jargon. You got one monitor with 2 video cards.
Each video card is taking a portion of the load.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like a coprocessor.
They're working in tandem.
Okay. Now I understand. Yep, I
So
get
in
that.
theory, it's less wear on the cards, and also maybe a little less temperature.
Yeah.
But of course, it's using more electricity because you're powering 2 cards instead of just one.
Well, I figure 850 watt power supply is going to be enough for.
Yep. That ought to be pretty sizable there. You can burn a lot of light bulbs with that bugger.
Well, I bought a 1,000 power watt supply with my last one. It was a little bit overkill.
And Dan, I think the movie you're talking about was the 1984 So, 1982 thriller Pieces.
That is exactly the one.
Yeah. Well, I knew it wasn't right, but for some reason I was thinking about the Albert Finney movie, Looker, where they kind of had models that were being.
Yeah, but now in my defense, I did not pick out the movie. It was from a video rental place. It was one of those things that was it was rented to 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 gauge my reaction,
Mhm.
and if I reacted wrongly, I would be punished.
Yeah. Well, like I said, um, for some reason when you started mentioning models, I knew it wasn't right, but Looker was what popped into my head.
Mm.
And I didn't watch all of it. I just saw bits and pieces of it. It's just,
Well,
I was young when I saw it, and it seemed kind of weird. So
this was definitely strange. But then my first wife was in the habit of renting really odd movies
yeah,
for no reason I could understand, and then reacting badly if I understood it before she did, which she reacted badly in this case because I certainly got the point a long time before she did. Or if there was the usual in that time period, the gratuitous nudity.
hmm
And I'm going, you rented it. I didn't pick this. Um, oh, well, let's not get too biographical here. There's stuff going on. The lady is since deceased,
hmm
and one day I hope I am able to forgive her for what I was put through. Today is not the day. I'm sorry. I have not grown that much, but one day I will. And even that was a little bit too biographical. I'm sorry, studio audience of two. Um, shall we go on to a different subject and go back to computers or something safe?
That home hub was starting to freak me out. I assume I was green boy.
I assumed as much as well, but then I thought it was somebody who was just trying to get us to react, and when we didn't react.
I was wondering if it was either that or if someone was trying to catfish. Oh, let's pick on the fat weird guy.
Mm, no, I think it was somebody trying to pick on anybody, and we didn't react. So they go, there's easier targets elsewhere. Now, um, we get 6 minutes left, guys. Now, seriously, this is the first time in quite a while that I have not been in extreme pain for sitting in a chair for this long. So I'm doing better.
Well, we also got into a pretty deep discussion that
yeah,
was pretty good at keeping you occupied on other than the physical. And when conversation slows, that's when, or
You
when our
notice
mental
you notice stuff
slows.
still
Yeah.
hurts. Yeah. Um, still, It's nice, and I'm I'm hoping that I can get an appointment sometime soon and get this seen to. Um, I can't spend my life standing up, even though that's the the part of my life when I'm up and walking around. And I mean, seriously, in my job, I walk like 10 miles a day in an 8-hour workday. That doesn't hurt. Sitting down, the whatever it is that's injured, the pressure starts sending out the pain signals, and it's hard to ignore sometimes. But
Have any of the doctor's offices gotten back to you on when they can see it, or
they're full for the holidays, so it may be after New Year's before I'm able to get an appointment. They're willing to do a video, and I'm going, excuse me, the point of pain is in the upper hip. You really want me to turn around and drop trowel on camera for you?
depending on the so like my pain specialist, a initial visit over video wouldn't be too insane, because then they can at least get you in the system, get your history, get all that stuff handled, so that you're a patient and can get into the office physically faster.
Yep.
Um,
That makes sense. That makes sense. But there's no way they can do anything other than get me to describe um, the history of this and where it hurts, and basically they might be able to eliminate my suspicions of what's causing it and go, hey,
journey of 1,000 miles, my friend. Journey of a thousand
yes,
miles starts with just one step.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, and that might be the step that we need to take. Okay,
and
we like I'm physically there with you to take it with you, but you know what I mean.
yeah, well, you're
I'm
here in
I'm,
spirit.
I'm there in spirit.
Yep. Two bodies with a single mind. Yes, indeed. Um, oh, sounds like me and my guitar player. That was fun. That was fun. Back in the garage band days, he would be playing something and then he'd change keys. And I knew he was going to do it, and I changed with him even though I didn't know what I was doing. And it worked so well. It's like being telepathic with somebody. It
Completely
really is. And
synergistic.
that is when a if you got an entire band and they could do that, it just clicks. You know you've got something. But when it's lead and rhythm, that's still a good basis right there. You can hunt around and find somebody else that can can lock into the mindset and function just as well. Too bad we never got that far. We were still strictly amateur, but we were damn good amateurs. Okay, 2 minutes. Um, Last messages to the public tonight. Um, Video rentals in the 70s and 80s were really weird. Um, and computers are fun to build,
Aspens
Yeah.
Law number 326. Smurfs taste like chicken.
Well,
but they're blue chicken.
I am committed now, gentlemen.
I hope we've been able to help. I know Rich was a hell of a lot more help than me, but
Well, I bet the bullet got the bigger solid state drive.
Now, you will not be sorry for that, I promise you. Uh, buy the biggest, the fastest, the bestest you can.
Well, I'm pushing
When you
luck.
put it all together and it works, you'll feel great, and it will hopefully outlive the planned obsolescence.
Thankfully, PC storage is not like renting a warehouse where you're like, okay, I've only got these 3 boxes here. I'm wasting a lot of space.
Mm.
It's much different because you have the chance to go ahead and put more stuff on it, and stuff is always going to come up, and you know backing up files, making new things.
Hmm.
Again, especially if you're going to be planning to start doing things with video and music, that extra processing power, that extra storage space is going to come in handy because those uncompiled, unpublished works, whether it's music or video or even images, are a lot bigger than the end result when you finally publish it. When you do your final process or whatever, it does a lot to streamline it down into a singular file, drawing it from the multiple sources that it's at. So if you're looking at an 8-track piece of audio that you're editing, it's going to be larger in that project state than it is in the end state.
Hmm. Um, the music composing program I use, I have done stuff that were 32 instrument tracks, and it was a huge raw file in the project stage. But you mix it down to lossless FLAC and save that because you need that. You can convert that to anything else, and then you mix it down to a online available MP3 or something like that. Much, much smaller still. But all those project tracks that are so huge, you need space for those as well.
Yeah.
So, it comes in handy having
I'll
as much.
probably have more questions at some point, but like I said, right now the main thing was just trying to decide whether to bite the bullet and go with a bigger SSD drive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is always a good choice.
Um,
The biggest and fastest you can afford is never going to be the wrong way to go unless you've got a piddly processor.
and the beautiful thing about an SSD drive, especially if it's not your main OS drive, so like your operating system and all that, yeah, that can be on a piddly little whatever, and then just the rest of your stuff be on the bigger stuff.
Hmm.
But even if you do go with like the 2 terabyte instead of the 4 terabyte, then you can sit there and go, okay, well, we'll use the 2 terabyte for now because it's just storage, and then storage on an SSD, flipping it from drive to drive isn't horrible at all. And then you now have another 2 terabyte backup that you can use for something else, especially if you're using um, that base system that Dan was showing you from. Was it Oric? You said Orican,
Mm-hmm.
Oracle.
Orica.
Yeah.
Um, I knew it had something to do with He-Man's little magic using friend. Um,
Or go.
um, but yeah, so it never hurts, and again, especially when you're using stuff like that, it's real easy to go ahead and swap stuff out as you need, and
Mhm.
never hurts to have, these are some files that I really want to save for a long period of time. I've got it on my computer. Doesn't hurt to put it on this 2 terabyte that I used to have in the computer and just put
Yeah.
that on the shelf somewhere just in case.
Yeah, just for storage. I mean, that's the same way I treated data DVDs back in the day. I would store
Mm.
huge amounts of stuff and put it on the shelf. And when I had hard drive failure, there's my backup or one of the backups. Um, well, guys, it's after 3,
Yep.
and I am
I
very,
know
very
it's late. I thank you for your help and your conversations, and
well. I thank y'all for being here. I really do. It's fun to hang out with both of you.
it
And
was a little bit too tech savvy probably for some of our viewers, but
hey, somebody will get some benefit out of it. Believe me.
I'm glad I could be a subject matter expert for once.
Hey,
you're more this expert from subject matter for once.
and we will say good night, everybody. And
And go good, guys.
Yep.
yeah, been a long day.
Yes, it has.
So, but tomorrow or later today is going to be another day. So we'll deal with that threat when it arises. So, and
Have a great night, guys.
you too.
You're gonna try, man. You too. Hopefully they let us.
Yep.
And let's tell the bedtime story.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. 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 System will shut down.